is me. My details are up there. If you want to connect with me on Facebook, on Twitter, please do. I'd love to hear how you're doing, what's happening and what works for you in terms of using these tools. You can also find me on LinkedIn. Is anyone in the room already on LinkedIn? Okay, for anybody that isn't on LinkedIn, get there now, because it is the professional network and people will look you up there, especially if you're a freelancer. One of the first things they'll do is they'll go and look at your LinkedIn profile, so you actually need to have one. If you do connect with me on LinkedIn, please just tell me where we met, because I'm one of those people that gets a lot of invitations, and if you don't put a note with it, I'm going to say no, because I will not remember who you are. But if you say, hey, we met at the KindredHQ Art Smart thing, I'll be like, great, and I'll click the yes button. So yeah, please do get in touch with me. I'd love to hear from you. So just to explain who Constant Contact are, we do small business marketing tools. They are online tools. We've got about 500,000 customers worldwide and about 12,000 customers in the UK. And I used to be a Constant Contact customer before I started working for the company. So just over a year ago, I was running my own small business and I was helping other people with their marketing, people just like you. I would work with them and talk to them about, what did they actually want to do? How did they want to get the word out there? And I would show them how to do that with some really easy and low-cost techniques. So we've got 4 tools that are available in the UK at the moment. We've got our social campaigns tool is for doing competitions and things on Facebook. We have a survey tool if you want to find out what your customers are actually looking for. Then our email tool for sending newsletters and offers and updates and that kind of thing. And then also an event management tool as well. So I want to ask a quick question. Today, who's used one of those networks already? Okay, most people. Probably about like 80–90%. And who's used one of these networks already today? Slightly fewer, okay. And who's checked their email today? Okay. There is a misconception, which I come across a lot, which is like, aren't the young people not using email anymore? Isn't it all like social media? And the answer is no. The thing is that everybody uses email. Whichever age group you're looking at working with, whatever industry you're in, everybody uses email. As you saw earlier, there's a big difference between the different social networks that people use. So you have to be very careful about who you want to get to on which network. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that later. But this is why we talk about using email and social media together, because you can always get in front of people by using email. Even if they just see your name in their inbox, but they don't have time to read it right now, you've still made that connection. Whereas if you post on Twitter and they're not on Twitter right now, they're unlikely to actually see your post. So I've got a couple of statistics for you. Out of 6 billion people on the planet, 4.8 billion of them have a mobile phone. 4.8 billion, that's a big number, right? That seems like an awful lot to me, especially when you consider that only 4.2 billion actually own a toothbrush. This is the preponderance of mobile in this day and age. So everything that you do, when you're thinking about your portfolios, when you're thinking about sending messages to potential customers, when you're thinking about posting your latest work on Facebook, think about how it's going to look on a screen that's this big. Because do you know what? If you do giant installation type pieces, you're going to have to get some really good photos of that to make it look good on a screen this big. And that's what you have to think about. It's all about keeping your messages really concise, making it so that people can access it anywhere, and also so that it grabs their attention when they do. Because I don't know about you, but I will sit and do my emails on the tube or on the bus in the morning, and that means that I'm actually thinking about other things. I'm trying not to fall over as I hold on with one hand to the wobbly tube thing, because I always get the driver that decides to brake really hard, and then you fly into the guy in front of you, and it's a bit embarrassing. But that normally happens to me. So about 60% of the UK population now actually has a smartphone. 60%. That's not just a mobile phone, it's a smartphone. So you will find that a huge chunk of people are doing social media on their phones, huge chunk of people are doing email on their phones. Use of Twitter, for example, has now, by mobile phone, has now surpassed use of Twitter on desktops and laptops. So people are using Twitter more on their mobiles than they are on their computers. It's all going that way. I saw some really interesting statistics as well about how in the UK, one of the things that we do particularly is we use our mobile phones as like our kind of one-stop for all sorts of different things. In other countries, people tend to use phones for like smaller groups of activities, but we do it for everything. So if you do any kind of multimedia stuff, think mobile while you're doing it. So I just want to talk very briefly about marketing in general. And the thing about it is that it's changed quite a lot. A traditional marketing approach is this kind of top-down funnel. Have you heard the phrase marketing funnel? Yep, people have heard that phrase? Okay. So basically, a marketing funnel is where you would try and find people who might become your customers, and then you'll put them through some kind of conversion process. Maybe you'll be phoning them up, maybe you'll get them to respond to an advert. And then some of those people that you convert into your customers will become your repeat customers. And this is a good thing. You want repeat customers because they spend more money with you and they're cheaper to acquire because you've already kind of built that relationship up. Think collectors there. Any of the fine artists in the room, think collectors. That's where you want to be. But the way of marketing now that's really very, very effective for smaller businesses is where the funnel has actually been flipped over. So the idea is you focus on keeping your existing customers first. Not only do they spend more, all that good stuff, but they can also be your secret sales force. They are going to be the people that tell other people about you. So you're not having to just like wander the streets trying to find people who might become your customers. You can actually use the people that know you and love you and trust you as well to actually find new customers for you. Makes it a lot easier, and then you get that kind of, what's the word, like a referral from them. It's much, much stronger than just someone finds you in, I don't know, online or whatever. If somebody's actually recommended you, it's much, much stronger. So the way that works is quite specific, and we call it engagement marketing. We used to have conversations over the garden fence. We would say, like, you know, meet someone at the bus stop that we knew, and we'd say, hey, how you doing? What are you up to? Went out for a lovely meal last night. This place round the corner had great food, really nice desserts. Loved the desserts. Now, if you followed me on Twitter, which all of you now will, just to see what happens, you'll know that I post pictures of food a lot, mainly cakes, because that's my thing. So instead of actually talking to you when I see you at the bus stop the next day, I'll be tweeting a picture of this lovely, lovely dessert that's just arrived on the table right there and then that'll go out to my 3.5, however many thousand followers straight away. So that's a lot more powerful. It broadens that reach much, much more than if I'm just giving that referral one-to-one, if I'm just telling one person how great it was. Also, whilst I'm at it, if I can find out the Twitter handle of the restaurant that I'm in, I'm going to include that in the tweet as well. So that anybody that thinks, oh, actually I was looking for somewhere new to go out for dinner in that area, that looks really nice, they can actually follow it back through their Twitter handle and they can connect with them as well. This happens with email too. You have to think about email as a social medium as well, because there will be times when I get an email from someone and I think, oh, this is really interesting. I know someone that's very interested in receiving that information, and I will share it onwards. And also, that doesn't happen one-to-one anymore. I might share it with a group that I'm part of on Facebook, so it happens with a much broader audience. And you've got an advantage. As a smaller business, especially a creative one, as a creative freelancer, you can actually be your authentic self. People want to see the personality behind creative businesses. They want to get a little bit of a feel for who you are, and you can actually put that out there. You can put that into your marketing. You can put it into the way that you talk about yourself. You guys probably aren't going to do this as much as I see with some other audiences, but often what I see is when someone sets up a small business, the first thing that they do is they stop using the word I. Everything becomes we, even though it's only them and the cat, right? It's like, oh, well, we do this, and our office is at blah, blah, blah. Bollocks, don't bother, right? Do not bother. People want to know who you are, and you specifically, and you specifically, and you specifically. So use the word I. Talk about what your influences are. Talk about what you do. Talk about how you can help them. Talk about the products and the beautiful things that you create. But do it in terms of I. Do it in terms of you. So at its heart, oh, I've got slightly distorted slides here. Marketing is about getting a physical and measurable response out of people. A lot of people will talk about brand awareness, right? Brand awareness is okay if you are Coca-Cola, if you are Microsoft, if you are Dell, or if you are Central St. Martin's. Those are names that people know. For us, this is about actually making sales. This is about getting people to pay for our time. This is maybe about getting that job that we want. We actually want a physical and measurable response out of people. And I've got something that's going to help you as we go through now. So if I could get you to take one of those and pass them on. Thank you. Take one and pass them on. Take one and pass them on. There you go. These worksheets, you can either fill them in as we go now, which might help you, because then you'll just be doing it as we go through, or just take it home with you. You'll find it's really useful. I'm going to take you through a little structure for how to actually create a really good marketing plan. And I've got extra ones down here as well. In fact, let me just pass some up at the back. If you can take one and then pass them over to these guys at the back, that'd be great. Any spares, just stick them on one side. I'll pick them up later. Okay. Ooh. Hello. Okay. So this is the framework for marketing, and this is what that little worksheet will take you through, okay? As I say, you can fill it in now if you want to, fill it in later. I don't mind, whatever's most useful for you. First of all, you have to set your marketing objectives and goals, and Deborah talked about that. She talked about the difference between goals and vision, okay? You've got to run a campaign, do it on the right channel, and then you're going to get some measurable results. So first of all, looking at objectives and goals. I like to think of objectives as that big idea, but in terms of what you actually want your business to do. So Deborah gave some great examples, maybe reaching new customers or increasing donations if you've got a charity project that you're working on. Those are big ideas, they're objectives. What you want to do though is narrow them down, turn them into goals. So good examples of goals, you might want to drive donations this month, but you've got to be really specific about that. What is the number? Do you want a percentage increase? Do you want an extra £10,000? Maybe you're going to be delivering some content to people that you met at a show or an exhibition, in which case, what are you going to send them? When are you going to send it? Is it only a specific type of person that you met that you're going to send that information to? Or maybe you're doing a show and you want to fill seats on a Sunday night. Now, if you have a space, if you have an auditorium that's this size, is this the number of people that you want in here? Is it 50% full? Is it 70% full? Is it 99% full? Because there's always someone that doesn't turn up. You've got to be really, really specific about what that is, really specific about that goal. And then what you want to do is you want to only think about one goal at a time. So you'll see in your worksheets, you've actually got space to write down 3 goals for your business, 3 marketing goals. I recommend that at the moment, just stick to one. If there's something that pops into your head, just put that down. You don't have to fill in all 3, but focus on just one at a time, however many you've got. Once you've decided what your goals are, you want to run a campaign on the right channel to help you impact that goal, to help you actually achieve it. So just to explain very briefly what a marketing campaign is, it's not as complicated as you think. A lot of people will assume that if they're going to do a marketing campaign, they need to take out an ad in the paper, they're going to have some advertising on the side of buses, maybe they're going to have a guy giving out leaflets, and someone out the front here in a rabbit suit sharing samples or dragging people in to see your exhibition. It doesn't have to be that complicated. It can be, but it doesn't need to be. Very simply, a campaign has 2 parts. You've got a push, which is some kind of content that you give, and then you've got a pull response. And this is whatever it is that your customer or your potential customer does as a result. So I've got an example for a campaign where we actually had a pull come before the push. So we looked at what people were asking us for, and we found that people really wanted to know, this was back end of last year, our customers really wanted to know how they could use Pinterest as a tool to promote their businesses. Now, we don't do a Pinterest marketing tool, but we knew that our customers wanted to know about it, so we put together an ebook that was about Pinterest marketing. So that became our content, that became our push, and we promoted it on our social networks, we promoted it on our blog, we included it in our newsletters that we sent out. And we asked people to sign up in order to get it, so they would join a special email list, and then we could promote extra stuff to them and give them other useful information. So that's a very, very simple example of a push and a pull. Now, I've got a few other examples of types of campaigns that you might want to run. The first one that came up there is a welcome campaign. That is the easiest kind of campaign that you could possibly run. So think about when somebody likes your page on Facebook, when somebody joins your email list, when somebody buys something of yours. You can say, thanks, welcome, either welcome to my list, welcome to my community, or welcome as a customer. and give them a little bit more information. We've got a customer who runs a clothing company, and they're based up in Leeds. And what they do is on their website, they've got a sign-up form for their newsletter, and it says on that sign-up form, when you sign up for the newsletter, you get 15% off your first order. Then they send out their welcome email when somebody signs up. That goes out automatically through our tools. And it's got a coupon on the bottom that says, here's how you claim your 15% off, and it's got a code in there. So it could be something really that simple. It might even just be, you know, how to care for the object that they've bought from you, for the piece that they've just purchased from you. It might be where they could buy other stuff that's like that. So if you do jewelry, then, you know, tell them about your other things that actually coordinate with that piece. You do it in all sorts of ways. Then other useful ways to do things, information sharing, that's always a good one, especially if you're an expert or if you're using, you know, some kind of interesting techniques that maybe people don't know about. Tell people about that. You could just be building your network, asking people to connect with you. Events are a great thing to do, especially if what you do is quite tactile. You know, if it really helps to actually be in the space with some of your work, then invite people to an event. And it might just be an open studio kind of thing. You guys are all part of a campaign now. This is an event that you've been invited to for a reason. It's to help you, but also to help like build the community and have it all working together even better. If you're doing something for charity, do some fundraising, maybe host a discussion. You can do that on a number of different forums. Facebook and LinkedIn work particularly well for that. Or you might want to run some kind of offer or promotion. The thing about offers and promotions, though, and this will probably only affect part of the audience, is you want to be very careful how you do it. A lot of people, when they set up their businesses, they think, right, well, I'm going to start off with some low prices. I'm going to do some introductory offers, because then that'll get people interested. Once I get going, I can put my prices up. The truth is, it's very hard to put up your prices, very hard, especially if you want to keep your existing customers coming back, because they're used to spending a certain amount with you. You can also devalue your brand. So, a great example of that is DFS sofas, because we have all seen the adverts, right? 50% off for about 6 months of the year, 4 years interest-free credit, I think it is now, and no money to pay right now. So what is the real cost of a DFS sofa? It's 50% off whatever the ticket price is. Nobody buys a DFS sofa full price. I don't even know why they have the shops open when their sales aren't on. Nobody buys the DFS sofa full price unless they've got it on the insurance. Don't let that happen to you. You're not in that kind of pile them high and sell them cheap kind of game, especially when what you're selling is your creative capital. You want to be very, very careful about your pricing, so be wary of offers and promotions and how you run them. So once you've figured out which kind of campaign you want to run, you need to know which sort of channel you want to run it on, because we've got all these different social channels. Some of them work better than others for different things. So the real way to figure that out is to look at actually who your audience is and what you want them to do. So for example, with LinkedIn, if you want to specialize in doing artwork for corporate environments, then you need to be on LinkedIn, because that's where all the professionals are. If you are wanting to do, you know, handmade goods, then you need to be thinking about Etsy, you need to be thinking about Facebook. Those are great channels for you. But the other thing that I want to add in here as well is that you have to look at where you enjoy spending your time. If you really don't like a particular network, say like you just never got to grips with Twitter, then ignore that for now. Focus on the networks that you really like and that you really enjoy. Because the thing about social media is that people can tell when you're faking it. Okay? People can smell that you don't enjoy what you're doing. And the key's in the name, it's social media. It's like when you go to a party and there's always that one person stood in the corner who's like, I really don't want to be here. My mate dragged me along, couldn't stay home, not enjoying this at all. And they don't get spoken to by anybody, because everyone can tell they don't want to be there. So don't be that person, okay? Don't be that person on social media. Pick the right channel, one that you actually enjoy. And think about how you're going to use email and social media together. So the reason that you want to be actually using both tools is because they work in different ways. So with social media, what happens is you get broad relationships, so you can contact a lot of people, but they tend to be quite shallow relationships. They tend to be quite shallow. That's because they're a little bit fleeting, because you kind of connect with them almost by accident. I've got some very good friends and business associates that I've met via social media, but it's when we started speaking to each other one-to-one that really took off as a relationship, or when we met in real life. With email, however, you can build deep relationships very fast. It's a brilliant way to build trust and to get people actually spending more time on your messages as well. So the best thing to do is produce, say, a regular email newsletter, and then use your social networks to amplify that, to get it out to more people. And then use those social networks to also build your list as well, so that you can then get more people on email. Because if you think about, if you just, say, relied on Facebook to connect with your potential customers and your community, Facebook owns that data, and Facebook decides how often and how frequently your stuff is actually going to appear in front of people. Of the people that like your Facebook page, and you should set one up, by the way, set up your own Facebook page if you don't have one already, and I'm talking about a business page, not a profile. Of the people that will like your Facebook page, only 14% are likely to see any one post. 14%. So that's a very, very small proportion. However, if you email them, you can get much, much higher readership. It's a much easier way to do that, and a great way to get better results. So a couple of little things that I want to share with you. How am I doing for time, by the way?
You're all right.
How long have I got?
5 minutes.
Okay, I'm going fast. Right. Now, later, or never. When people read their emails in the morning, or whenever it is that they get to their computer, they decide for each one whether they're going to read it now, later, or never. Later is a well-intentioned never. Personally, I have a file in my Outlook called Things to Read. It's been there for over a year. I've never been into it. I keep putting stuff in there, but I never go in to actually read stuff. So you need people to take action now. You want them to read your messages now. So there's 3 different things that they look at to decide whether they're actually going to do that. They look at who it's from. Do they actually recognize you? Do they trust who's sending them this message? What the subject line is it interesting to me? And then when you send your communication. You've got to think very, very carefully about each of these 3 things. With the subject line or headline in particular, there's a great technique for actually getting a good headline together. And that's what we call the 2-2-2 principle. When people read your headline, they'll give you attention for 2 seconds. 2. Used to be 5, now it's 2. People's attention spans are getting much, much shorter. It's the first 2 words that are the most important. Those are the ones that they read first. And that helps them decide whether they're going to read the rest of your subject line. Not to open your email, the first 2 words will tell them whether they're going to read the rest of your subject line or not. And you have to get them to take action today. So when you're putting together any kind of headline or subject line for either emails or social posts, you want to use that 2-2-2 principle and say, okay, does this really grab the attention? Don't do any of that waffling at the beginning. I would like to invite you to blah, blah, blah. Like, they've lost the plot by then. They're not going to read it. It's event invitation or exclusive invitation, and then tell them what you're inviting them to. Keep it really short and snappy. Here's some good examples of different headlines from a number of our customers. And you can see the way that they've done this. So they've got things like, this is my favorite, by the way, daily alert, bunnies are evil. I want to know what's in that. I've never actually seen the email that it comes in. But they've put the very first, the very important bit right up front. So an exclusive look. Ooh, exclusive. We like this. These are words that grab attention. £5 free to be naughty or nice. They're asking for customer feedback, and they're giving a £5 voucher for that. So think about how you can put the benefit right up front for people. And then you need to decide when you're actually going to send or post. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. And it's slightly different for email and social as well, so I want to just explain that. When you're getting started with social media for your business, 3 to 5 times a week is okay for any new network that you're on. It is not a good idea to set up a business Twitter account, tweet 28 times in the first day, and then disappear for 3 months. People will think you've died. Or it just shows that you really don't understand how the medium works, okay? So consistency is more important than frequency. And by the way, especially when you're using social channels for business, no drunk tweeting. If that is a danger, lock your phone. Take the apps off your phone. Whatever it is, just hide it. Don't do that. And you can use automated tools to help as well. So I use a great one called Buffer, which I don't know. Is anyone using Buffer at the moment? No? Okay. So it's bufferapp.com, BUFFER app.com. And what that'll allow you to do is connect your social networks. There's a free version, which I think lets you schedule like 10 posts. And you can just put those posts in there, and then you tell it how often you want it to send those posts out for you. So I have a whole load of stuff that I share. I like find different articles and that kind of thing, and I'll put them in my buffer, and then I'll just have them go out. So when I'm doing events like this, I don't have to be thinking, okay, I haven't tweeted all day and something needs to go out. I basically do that once a week, and all that information goes out. And then when I'm actually connecting with people on social media, if somebody tweets me, I can respond to them like in real time. For email, most people send monthly, but you need to think about when they're going to take the action. So for example, you could send out a monthly newsletter, and that goes out on the first Monday of the month, say. But you want to invite people to an event, and that event is on the first Wednesday of the month. Well, don't wait till the first Monday to send your invitation to invite them, because you can't get anyone anywhere with 2 days' notice. It's just not going to happen. You need to give people 2 or 3 weeks at least. So don't stick to that schedule to the detriment of actually getting the things done that you need to do. So finally, I just want to talk about getting measurable results. Remember, you're after that physical, measurable response. And results are just a measurement of actions. So any of your results, whatever it is that you want your goal to achieve, and figure out how you're actually going to measure that, you can do it in any number of ways. It doesn't have to be that technical either. It might just be that, you ask people to call you to book an appointment for something, in which case, just make a note of how many people have phoned. It's that easy. It doesn't have to be too complicated, but you need to keep track so that you know what's working and you can do more of that, less of the stuff that doesn't work, or improve on the stuff that's not working for you. So here's a few tools that you need. We really think that email is great. We basically were one of the first companies to start doing email for business in this way, and we're still going 13 years later. 13 years on the internet is like dog years. Basically, we invented the internet, almost. Not quite, but it's that far back. And we see more and more results every day. You can make email look really good. You can brand it up with your logo, with your colors, and you can actually use it to help you measure and monetize the effect of what you do on social media as well. Because remember, social media is for social. It's not the place to start doing hard sell kind of things. Get those people onto your email list. You can build a relationship with them. You're still not going to hard sell them, but it's a great way to actually get them to buy from you. There's a few other little clever things that you can do with email as well. Part of our tool is a thing called the simple share, which means that I could write a newsletter today, I could have it scheduled to go out on Thursday, and I can have it automatically sent out on all my social networks on Thursday when it goes out. And I can just do that with one click. So I can set it up, I can choose, I can put an image in there, I can customize the text, and it will go out exactly when my email goes out as well. And make sure that you connect the two things together. So when you do send out your email, which you should, include your social media buttons. Have people be able to find you on social media. Invite them to actually connect with you. Because the more places you can connect with someone, ultimately the more money that they spend with you, because the better your relationship is going to be. You're going to connect with them. You're going to give them more information in more ways. And you also want to think about, when you meet people, actually collecting their details offline as well. So if you're in an environment like this, if you run an event of your own, if you go to a networking event, something like that, actually talk to folks, and if they're interested in what you have to say, hey, would you like to receive my regular email? And tell them what's in it for them. Never ever just say, do you want to be on my mailing list? Ever. It's like the kiss of death. People will sidle away, looking shifty, not wanting to talk to you. Don't do that. Tell them what's in it for them, and explain that they can get out at any time as well. People feel much more comfortable signing up for things if they know that they can unsubscribe. We've got a whole load of online tools as well for helping to build your list. So this is an example of a Facebook app that we've got, which is free for any of our customers. It's called Join My Mailing List. You want to put buttons on your website. So if you've already got a website, have a look at where you've got the ability for people to actually sign up to your mailing list. If you're thinking about putting one together, make sure that you put buttons on there. And those should be on every single page, because you're the only person in the world that reads every page of your website. Nobody else is ever going to do that. So they should be on every page, and they should be top right or top left, because that's where you'll get the best response. And then make sure that you've got a join our mailing list button actually on your newsletters themselves. Because if I get a great email and I want to send it to Deborah, because I think she's going to be really interested, it should be easy for her to join that list too, if she wants to. And we're very, very strong, by the way, on permission only. You should never buy a list and just blast out to people or like harvest addresses from everywhere. Anywhere, you just want to email to people that have actually asked you to do so. Yeah. Work, little button. Okay. Yes, so use tools. These are 3 free tools that are available right now. Nutshell Mail is one of ours. That will send you updates that tells you what's happening on your social networks. Hootsuite is if you're a little bit more advanced with social media. That's a dashboard that's got a great free version. And then Google Alerts, which will actually tell you what's happening on the internet. So you can do a search for your name, for example, and Google Alerts will send you a message every time your name comes up online somewhere. Google Alerts is going to go away soon, but I haven't got my favorite replacement for it yet, so that's why I'm not talking about something different. And as I said, I'm tweeting whilst I'm here because I use one of these tools to do so. So very, very finally, just remember to be yourself. Like, put a little bit of your personality into the marketing that you actually send out, whichever channel you're using. You know, showcase the people that actually work with you. Tell people who they are. That's a chocolate moustache, by the way, it was. If you have a pet, post pictures of your pet. People love them. It's bonkers. I know someone that posts pictures of his tarantula on his Facebook page. It gets loads of interest. I know it's crazy. I don't like spiders myself. And if you would like to try any of our tools, we've got a free trial. In your little workbooks, there's a sign-up form if you want a free trial. Just fill that in and give that to me. We also have free coaching available. Anybody who signs up for a trial, I warn you now, a very nice American guy will phone. He is not there to harass you. He's there to make sure that you can actually find all the buttons that you want to find and that you know what you're doing with the email tool. But yeah, he's like genetically friendly. He's lovely, this guy. But people are like, why are you phoning? It's because we're nice. It's because we're helpful. Don't be afraid. And again, you've got all of my details there. So I'm going to make sure that Alex has the slides so anybody can get these slides, which will then help you go through your workbook as well. And I'm going to be here up and through the break. So if you've got any questions, then just let me know.